Montreal, the everyday, and the extraordinary. The Elias Makos Show on CJAD 800.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Mark Carney's wrapped up his press conference about the 24 Sussex renovations. You heard the details from James Foster in his newscast. He was asked a question about trade negotiations with the United States. We'll get to that in a moment, so you'll get to hear the Prime Minister's words on the latest there, as seemingly the United States and Canada simply aren't talking when it comes to trade right now. But I want to start off this hour of the Elias Makos Show by talking a bit about air conditioning. Do you have AC where you are? Let me know, by the way. Send me a text message, 514-790-0800. Do any of you not have air conditioning? And how do you do it? You know, last time I moved, the first thing I did was make sure AC system was installed. I mean, it's important. And you know, just for comfort, I think we all know there's been so many incredible studies done about productivity. And there's actually one of the things they say about why is the U.S. so productive, right? If you look at why employees in the U.S. are so productive compared to other parts of the world, one of the hypotheses is, well, because there's so much air conditioning in the U.S., and it's true. I mean, the studies prove it, right? When you are in climate controlled, you're at 20 or 21, you can be a lot more productive than when you're in an apartment that's at 26 or 27, or dare I say gets into the 30s. And, you know, I remember when I lived in NDG in the upper of a duplex, okay, and I got a couple of window units to put in the place, but they were so loud, you know, so sometimes I didn't put them on. But any moment that I did not put on the AC in that apartment, it would get to 35 degrees like that, you know? So obviously there's fans, there's other ways you can cool yourself down, but for a lot of people, air conditioning is really important. And now in Europe, okay, across the Atlantic, they're having a big debate over air conditioning. Because unlike the United States and Canada, I should add, Canada also very high up when it comes to penetration of air conditioning, very American of us. In the U.S., I think it's 76% of people live with climate control like AC, okay? And we're right up there. But in Europe, that's not the case. I'm almost shocked, and I think sometimes for us, because I think a lot of Canadians travel to Europe often, right? You go to Greece, you go to England, you go to France, you go to Portugal. We travel to Europe and we stay in accommodations, like tourist accommodations, and of course there you have AC. So we don't fully grasp that in people's homes, that's not the case. I actually can't believe this, okay? Germany, only 3% of homes have AC. UK, under 5%, okay? France is actually high. It's 1 in 4 households. They're up to 25%. Apparently that's high for Europe, okay? Now they've had a heat wave. Temperatures soaring past 40 degrees in parts of Spain, Italy, Greece, France. Schools have been closed. Outdoor work has been restricted. Tourists who are in accommodations that don't have AC, they're struggling. They're not used to this. The authorities are warning people, hey, stay inside, stay hydrated during the hottest parts of the day. Now, this is unbelievable. Recent studies, modern studies, suggest that there are 30 to 70,000 heat-related deaths per year in Europe. Every year, 30 to 70,000 people. It's incredible. Often we think about the cold, right? But the heat is the cold does kill a lot of people. I have to point this out. Like in some respects, cold kills more people. But the heat can be a killer. But the thing with heat is there's a really easy solution, and that is installing air conditioning. And there's actually a debate that's happening right now in the European Union on installing air conditioning. You know, now Europeans have designed their buildings to be resilient, at least when it comes to cooling things down naturally. Thick stone walls, shutters, narrow streets. All of this actually leads to cooler cities. But right now, it is not enough. The heat waves in Europe have become longer. It's actually not deniable. We actually have longer heat waves in Europe, and we're surpassing some temperatures. So the debate is, hey, Europe, do you embrace AC like much of the rest of the world? Do you think of some Asian countries and here in North America where air conditioning has become ubiquitous? Or do you just stand pat? And a big issue for Europe is how expensive energy is. So sometimes this is actually an economic debate. And a lot of people are saying Europe simply can't afford. They've made their electricity so expensive that they can't afford air conditioning. And I think some of you may say, well, that's ridiculous. Like, I look at my hydro bill in the summer, it's not too bad. Yeah, but you're paying 7 cents a kilowatt. You know, the last time I went to Europe and I visited some of my family, they live near Nuremberg in Germany, in Fürth. And I visited them, and we were talking about what they pay for electricity, and we're at 7 cents a kilowatt in Quebec, and they were telling me, oh, it's 30 or 40 cents a kilowatt. If you had to spend 4 times as much for electricity, maybe you would also be cutting back on AC. So that's a thought there. But it just is incredible to see the death toll that's happened just so far. Spain already has linked 200 deaths to these extreme temperatures, but often some of these deaths get reported after the fact because they come afterwards due to heat stroke or heat exhaustion. Interesting debate happening in Europe, and one I think we don't fully grasp because, you know, here we go to our workplace AC, we come back home, there's AC, and it's far more ubiquitous. All right, I want to get to Ottawa. Let's go back to Mark Carney. He was asked by CTV's Abigail Bimman about CUSMA, the new NAFTA, USMCA. To get an update on that, here's what he said.
Abigail Beeman, CTV News. Hi, Prime Minister. There are a lot of people listening to you who work in industries that are hard hit by American tariffs, and I'm wondering what you would say to them about why you didn't raise CUSMA with the President when you spoke to him and when you plan to.
I raised issues around message is clear, but thank you for your question. I raised CUSMA with the President. I have multiple interactions with the President. The discussion I had with the President, which he initiated 2 days ago, was with the security, included the security and senior military personnel of the U.S. It was a very specific discussion around security issues, and then geostrategic issues that related to those security issues. There's a time and a place for that discussion. We are in active discussions with the U.S. Minister LeBlanc will be meeting in a tripartite meeting on July 1st with Ambassador Greer and Secretary Ebrard of Mexico. And those discussions continue. I will be seeing the President in NATO in a few weeks. So, look, we are fighting for those industries, but the other core message, apart from the direct support that we're giving to the industry, helping them to reposition for any eventuality, is that what we're not going to do is to accept a deal that damages those industries. Right? There, as I said yesterday, there are bad deals that have been on the table for those industries for months, and we're fighting for those industries, not accepting what comes in.
There's the Prime Minister just moments ago speaking about USMCA and his conversation with Donald Trump. On the text line, on the subject of air conditioning, Elias, our heat pump broke down. Now we're without AC for the past 2 weeks. At least the temperatures haven't been so high. Finally ordered a new one. It's going to be installed in 2 weeks. Oh, boy, looking at the forecast for next week, I feel for you when it's going to get to 30, 32 without the AC. The dampness is also punishing. It's okay for now, but the big heat is coming. 2 fans in the bedroom help a bit. Yeah, maybe you also want to, search for one of those portable air conditioners. Maybe you can get one on the cheap on Marketplace or something like that. Don't end up getting scammed on Marketplace, though, but maybe you could get a portable AC or a temporary AC, a wall unit, while you wait for that. All right, coming up at 10:30, by the way, it will be traffic court. So if you've been waiting to call in and plead your case about a ticket you just got, you'll get that opportunity just after the 10:30 news. So stay tuned for that. One program note, you've heard from the Prime Minister on a couple of occasions on this program so far this morning. I should point out that at 11:20, you'll get to hear from Pierre Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives, will join us on the program, and we'll discuss the end of the parliamentary session and what's next for him and his party, as they seem to be stuck in limbo in the polls. I'll put it mildly on that front. All right, when we return, we're going to get you primed for Sunday's big match, Team Canada and their game against South Africa. What to expect on Sunday. We'll be speaking to Patrice Bernier, former Team Canada captain, about the big game.
Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift-off.
Available on iHeartRadio. The Elias Makos Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Ball over the top towards Saliba. Saliba bringing it down. Across it goes to Promise David! Immediate impact from Promise David, and Canada get one back. What a journey it has been from Promise David.
Promise David there, scoring to cut Switzerland's lead down to 2-1. That's from Wednesday's match. And Canada preparing for its biggest match yet at the FIFA World Cup, advancing to the knockout stage for the first time. The national team now faces a winner-go-home round of 32 matchup against South Africa, an opportunity to continue the historic tournament run. Now, this game, if you can believe it, just how things work at the World Cup, it's not going to be in Canada. It's going to be in Los Angeles. So the game is in LA, Sunday, 3 p.m. You'll be able to catch that on TSN and CTV and RDS and TSN 690. Let's head over now to Patrice Bernier, former Team Canada captain, now a soccer analyst over at RDS. Patrice, it's so great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on today.
Hey, hi. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, over the last couple weeks, I've made the radio broadcaster mistake of saying, Canada, we've been doing well this tournament. And then the guest will be like, well, actually, no, it's been a bit of a disappointment. And then the next guest, I was like, so Canada, a bit of a disappointment so far. And the next guest says, well, no, actually, we've been doing pretty good. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to ask you this. How do you see it? How is Canada doing so far at this tournament?
If you look at it in a general aspect, Canada is doing well. They're in round of 32. With 2 last World Cups, we barely had a point. We only had 1 goal out of the 2. And so now when you look at it on an overall aspect and keeping it on a positive note, we got our first point. We got our first victory. And this is our first time going past the group stage. So if you take the general, there's more ups than downs. Now, if you look at it, could it have been better? Yes. And that's the stage that we're at now with Canadian soccer. Is the standards are a bit higher with these groups of players and what they did in Copa America. We could say that, had they drawn Switzerland and beaten Switzerland, they would have been first in this game it would have been in Vancouver, which would have been even better for everything. Canada soccer, the nation being really behind the team and having a game, or at least one of the last games, with a sea of red. So generally, it's a good thing that we're able to say that it could be better, but it is, in generally, very good. And that Canada's in round of 32, so excited for this upcoming game against South Africa.
Well, I think you put it perfectly, because so much of this, to answer that question, so much of it matters on the expectations, right? So clearly now Canada in a league where the expectations are high to deliver results, it's so sad the game's not in Vancouver and it's happening in LA. But let me ask you, Patrice, when you're watching on Sunday, what will you be looking at to quickly determine, for our listeners, they're going to turn on that game because it's so important. What will you be watching to quickly determine if Canada has its A game and if the game's going well?
I think from the get-go, Canada has to be on the front foot. Jesse Marsh has brought this team, has created an identity about high press. When we don't have the ball, we don't give time to the opponent to be able to play forward. And when they have the ball, it's to go fast towards the goal and create havoc and create as many chances as we can. I think 2 of the 3 games, Canada was hesitant in the first half against Bosnia and against Switzerland. So if they're doing that from the get-go, I'm thinking, Canada's on a good day. They do not want to let South Africa get any confidence or build or momentum. That's first. Second, I would be looking at how the defense manages a bit more the peers where Canada is pressing, but are we in prevent defense? Because we got caught against Switzerland with a lot of movement and defense that was scattered and confused, and that allowed for some of the opponents to be free in the box to score goals. So first and foremost, are they on the front foot, going at the team, pressing them, or trying to go at goal as fast as they can? And 2, are they covering their backs much better than against Switzerland, which was probably a good lesson heading into round of 32, because this is sudden death. You win, you keep on going, you lose, you go home.
With RDS soccer analyst Patrice Bernier, former Team Canada captain, getting you set for the big game on Sunday as Canada faces South Africa, 3 p.m. Sunday in Los Angeles. Let me ask you, Patrice, for our listeners who maybe don't watch football all the time, soccer all the time, who are the players that you will be watching that we should be paying attention to? Maybe some players that you think need to turn it up a notch for Sunday's game.
Definitely the player that everybody will have the eyes on, and hopefully he will deliver, will be Jonathan David. He scored 3 goals against Qatar. I know he was under the critics. We were talking about expectations. This is where we're at. We're expecting the strikers to score all the time. Before, maybe everybody would have been nice and polite, but now we're putting a lot more pressure on the guy who plays at Juventus and who's the leading scorer in history of Canadian soccer on the men's side. So Jonathan David, looking forward for him to create chances or to be in the opportune positions to be able to score. But he needs some help. Because definitely you don't score by yourself. I do believe that the wingers, the side players, Tejan Buchanan, Liam Miller, Ali Ahmed, whoever starts, need to be a bit more dangerous, to put more service into the box. So Jonathan David and Kyle Larin, who most likely should start, are able to have the opportunities, because this is round of 32. We shouldn't be expecting that's going to be as many chances as against Qatar or even Switzerland. This might play a very tight game. Nobody's going to want to make mistakes. So it might be to 1 or 2 chances, and you're going to have to be really efficient and cynical in front of goal. So Kyle Larin and Jonathan David, hopefully, they call him Iceman. So let's hope he has the ice in his veins to be able to be very calm and put Canada ahead and move them on to round of 16.
Be the coach here. Tell me about the tactical adjustments you think Canada needs to make.
Look, Jesse Marsh has been fond of this 4-4-2 or 2 forwards and being aggressive. So that's not going to change. That's the identity. You don't suddenly just go, let's throw it out the window. Mm-hmm. He did say after the Switzerland game that he was thinking of maybe going with 3 at the back because Switzerland was creating some problems. So clearly he may have a strategy in case South Africa is more dangerous than expected. But they're going with a 4-4-2. And now mostly it's like I said, it's the defense, because in the games leading up to the World Cup and the games at the World Cup, we've shown that when they do not win the ball high up the field and they do get beat in their press, the defense is susceptible. That's why I'm looking to see if Moise Bombito, he played 45 minutes against Qatar, he's coming back from a serious injury. Is he healthy enough to come and help, maybe for half? That'll be interesting to see if he's there. And Alphonso Davies, he hasn't played a minute, and they say that he could contribute. I don't think he'll start, but he'll be a piece also that looking forward that if he can come into the game in the second half with his pace, that means the defense has 2 guys that are the main starters, and that makes the defense a lot stronger and less susceptible for counterattacks that South Africa will be looking forward to do. And they definitely would have looked at the Switzerland game, so that means they'll say, hey, this is what Switzerland did to beat Canada. We need to repeat this. So hopefully Moise Mbito is healthy enough to help out, and Alphonso Davies contributes in his first minutes at the World Cup. So Canada has to be well aware when they have the ball defensively.
Patrice, for someone who's lived and breathed Canadian soccer for so long, what does Sunday mean to you? What does it mean for the country?
Look, I got to watch and broadcast the game in Vancouver, the second one against Qatar. Being there, seeing a sea of red jerseys, people chanting the national anthem, having played games where I didn't feel that Canada was behind us. When you're at this stage now, the World Cup, you feel that the game has evolved and that the performance of Canada has glued the country to the TV and to listen and to be behind the team. So these are great moments. This is what, as a kid, I looked forward to, was to go to the World Cup and you get to play it at home, or they had the first few games, and having that the country behind you. And I take the words of Derek Cornelius. He said, before, when I used to come in Canada, nobody really recognized me. But now, lately in Vancouver, walking the streets, people are out asking for autographs, pictures, and it shows that the level of Canada's soccer's growth here. We know it's number one practice sport in Canada, but culturally, we're not at the same level as how we fare compared to hockey. But this stage, this moment, and the round of 32 will just give more hope to everybody, and I think attach ourselves to soccer even more. And hopefully to go to round of 16, which will make the party go a bit longer, and making sure us 45 million people, we are behind these 26 men, and hopefully they get a great result against South Africa. So it's a great moment in terms of a former international.
Patrice, listen, great talking to you. You're doing a great job on the RDS broadcasts, and you're a must-follow on Twitter for anyone who's interested in soccer. So do seek out Patrice on X. Patrice, thanks so much.
Thanks, appreciate it.
That's Patrice Bernier, RDS soccer analyst. Sunday, 3 p.m. is the big match. You can catch it on CTV, TSN, and RDS, along with the radio broadcast on TSN 690. All right, when we return, it's Traffic Court. You hear that music playing, and it's your chance to call in and plead your case if you recently got a parking ticket, a moving violation ticket, or a speeding ticket. We'll get your case next.
Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift-off.
Available on iHeartRadio.
All right, everybody, get on the docket. Phone lines are open, 514-790-0800. It's time for Traffic Court on CJAD 800. If you recently were pulled over by the cops and want to tell us the story about why you got a ticket, maybe you got a parking ticket that is gnawing at you, or you've got an all-time classic story. We'll take it now. We'll let you plead your case. Maybe we'll give you some advice. 514-790-0800. Traffic Court is next.
Listen wherever, whenever, on your radio. Online at CJAD800.com. On your smart speaker.
Playing CJAD.
Or your phone. Through the iHeartRadio app. Where and when you need us. This is News Talk Radio. CJAD 800. Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift-off.
Available on iHeartRadio.
Canada.
In the CJAD 800 traffic court system, the participants are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. The CJAD listeners who commit the infractions, and Elias Makos, who judges the offenders. These are their stories.
Next thing I knew, the sirens were blaring, and he pulled me over, and he said, "You ran the red light."
So, wondering if I can go contest it, but unfortunately I don't have any evidence.
Lindo, you got bigger issues here.
Police officer pulled me over and said that my registration and license had expired.
Boy.
He said, "You got to check with SAC Click."
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I believe it's my constitutional right not to wear a seatbelt. I don't.
What?
He came out the car, and I said, "Guilty, guilty, guilty. Don't give me a lecture, just give me the ticket." And he was laughing.
You better have stopped there, Stephen.
I tried, but I was on ice and snow.
Can you handle the truth?
I could handle it. Go for it.
Jeannie, you shouldn't have parked there. I mean, like, you're on camera. You admitted it on CJAD. You were doing it.
The thing is that the 40 is written so far that you can't even see it.
Cry me a river.
Why did they use this one type of sign?
It doesn't matter. I'm just the CJAD fun radio judge. The real judge is going to throw the book at you.
Traffic Court. Elias Makos considers your case on CJAD 800.
On Traffic Court this week, we're going to tell you how to beat a ticket for using your cell phone while driving. At least how one motorist successfully beat a ticket for using a cell phone while driving. But we're going to start things off with our docket here. And Maria is first on the docket. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Elias. How are you?
I'm doing great. Maria, listen, what are you driving? What kind of car you got?
I drive a Toyota 4Runner.
A Toyota 4Runner. Wow. Is that nice ride?
It is. I'm a little bit short, so it's a challenge sometimes, but it's a family car.
Okay, great, because that's a big vehicle. That's a climb to get into that vehicle. Okay.
Yeah, thankfully there's a step.
So you take the step, you get into the vehicle. What happens to you in your car?
Picking up my son at the REM station on Nuns Island, and so I was sitting there for a few minutes, and there was a police car in back of me, and then I come to pull out once my son had gotten in the car, pulls me over, and couldn't imagine what I did in the parking lot waiting at the REM for my son, and he says, "Your license plate is peeling." So here I am thinking, okay, give me a warning, I'll have that fixed right away. I mean, hadn't noticed. I didn't think it was that bad. But no warning. Here's your ticket, $75 ticket, and go get it fixed.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Everybody out there, if your license plate is the least bit peeling, because mine was still visible, better go get it replaced or risk getting a ticket.
I've seen some plates in this province where it's all peeled. Like all the numbers and letters have peeled off, right? And they're just driving around. Now correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there was a manufacturing defect with a lot of license plates. And,
that's possible.
Right? And Maria, I'm going to encourage you. Now, when did you get this ticket? When did this happen?
It was about a month ago. So the license plate has already been replaced. But believe it or not, I'm on my way to the SAAQ now with my other vehicle to get that one replaced too, because I'm terrified of getting another.
Did they charge you for the new plate?
Yes, they do. And they change your number too.
Oh,
so you have
God.
and you have to put a temporary license on your car, so they print it out for you and then wait for it to come in the mail. But when you've had these license plates for the longest time, I even had difficulty unscrewing the old one, had to go to a garage because they were rusted on to the car.
Maria, I find this ridiculous here because I think who should get the ticket? It's the SAAQ for providing faulty license plates. Did you pay this ticket already?
I did. Yes.
You should. Now listen, for a lot of people, $75, it's not worth it, right? Like all the time. But I would have fought that ticket, Maria. I think you gave up too easily. You got to fight that sucker. That's not your fault if they gave you a bad license plate.
That's true. Maybe they should take that into consideration, the climate here and all the variations in temperature, the winters, and make something that is better quality. You have a very good point.
Between the ticket and 2 license replacements, how much did this all cost you?
About $100.
Listen, I got a text message from a listener saying mine was peeling about 4 years ago. I was able to get a new one with no charge. Maria, you got a raw deal here. I'm sorry.
I did get a raw deal.
If it makes you feel any better, Judge Makos will say you're not guilty, okay? So
Thank you.
You got the bragging.
You're not going to get a ticket?
But you did, Maria. You did get a ticket.
Maybe the police officer was jealous of my nice 4Runner.
And if you have a 4Runner and it's in good shape, boy, you're turning heads. Maria, thanks so much. Safe climb up to the vehicle the next time you take the 4Runner.
Thanks, Elias.
There's poor Maria. She should not have got that ticket. And I'm telling you, that's a fault. That's the problem with faulty license plates and not Maria. Let's go to Maxim Kadot, who has his traffic court roundup for the week. Max, what are the stories you kept track of this week?
Well, we have 3 here to go on with, because I'll save we'll save the cell phone ticket for you, Elias, because I know you have a lot to say about this one. So we'll start off in Ontario, where a 23-year-old man from Concord, Ontario, is facing stunt driving charges after Ontario Provincial Police say he was stopped with a rental car traveling more than double the posted speed limit on Highway 17.
What's his age? Do you know what the age is of this guy?
He is 23 years old. He was rolling at 185 kilometers an hour in a 90 zone.
Let's just say, you know what? Revoke the license forever. This guy should be taking Ubers. Revoke the license forever. 185 and a 90. I'm sort of like, you make mistakes in youth. 23, you're cutting it close. If he was 25, I would have really thrown the book at him. 23, he's just still he's an adult. He should know better. Okay.
Beyond the charge, the man received an automatic 30-day driver's license suspension.
30 years. 30 years is what I'd give him, not 30 days.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they had a typo and they wrote days instead of years. And his rental vehicle was also impounded for 14 days. The next one we will go to is the lovely town of Bécomo, where up north in Quebec, where a driver was found going 153 kilometers per hour on June 20th in a 90 zone once again.
Yeah.
So again, the man got a $1,318 ticket, 14 demerit points. His license was also suspended for 7 days. And 24th of June here in Quebec means Saint-Jean. But that does not give you permission to go fast on the highways. Case in point, around 2 o'clock on Autoroute in Mascouche, a man on Autoroute 25 was a 27-year-old man, I should say, was seen driving 177 kilometers per hour in a 100 zone.
177. You know what? And this is the deadliest time of the year on Quebec roads.
Yes.
We know this. The next couple of weeks, the deadliest time of year. And it's because of bozos like this. 177. Again, what are you going to tell me here? It's a fine, and he lost some demerit points, and
$1,543, 14 demerit points, license suspended for 30 days.
30 days. 30. It should be 30 years. I'm going to go back on that one. Should be a 30-year suspension.
And there you go, the 27-year-old man from Saint Julien. And you had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Elias, like sometimes when we're driving, we think we're in constant speed, but sometimes we see the gauge and we go, whoop, you actually go a little fast. At some point, you should be noticing that, hey, are going.
Well, these people, when you're at 177, you're doing it on purpose.
Exactly.
I actually I have great sympathy if you're doing 130 and you don't realize it in a 100 zone. I think that has happened to almost everyone. But when you're at 177, you know exactly what you're doing.
100%.
Max, thanks for that roundup. When we return, how to get off of a cell phone ticket using your cell phone while driving. One Quebecer was successful. We'll tell you how. Get on the docket right now at 514-790-0800 to tell your traffic court story. We'll continue that as traffic.
Close your eyes and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on. And you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the liftoff.
Available on iHeartRadio. where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
It's national conversations, from major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. The Graham Richardson Show, today at noon, right here on CJAD 800. Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Here's Canada the liftoff.
Available on iHeartRadio. Traffic Court. Elias Makos considers your case on CJAD 800.
All right, welcome back to Traffic Court. You can get on the docket and tell us your story about getting a ticket at 514-790-0800 and get on the docket before we have to wrap up this hour. A note from Peter, by the way, and I've lost this message. We have this text message system. I'm going to say it now. It's been 2 years, and I gave a nice, good grace period where they could fix it and make it good. It's 2 years later. It's still not very good. I lost Peter's message, but Peter did send me a note saying that he had the same thing happened to him with his license plate where it was peeling. He had to get it replaced. Peter, do let me know if you had to pay for that replacement or if you were given a new plate for free. I want to get to this story, by the way, and it's thanks to the Suburban. Joel Goldenberg writing at the Suburban about how one Montreal driver actually got off a ticket and successfully beat his ticket for using a cell phone while at the wheel of the vehicle. So this is super interesting here because, normally it's like a fait accompli. If a cop gives you a ticket for using your cell phone, basically the law says, you're donezo. If the cop says you're using your phone, the phone was in your hands, you're deemed to be using that cell phone and you're going to get a ticket. But this driver successfully countered that he was in a traffic jam and that all he needed to do was connect his smartphone, his iPhone, to his vehicle's console to activate CarPlay. So his argument was, I'm not using my smartphone to text. He actually provided receipts that there was not a phone call happening on his phone at that time. So he's like, listen, I have the proof I wasn't using the phone, but I wasn't using the internet. I wasn't texting either. What I was doing, I took my phone in my hand because I needed to plug it in my vehicle. And this driver argued successfully to the judge, I have a 2021 Mercedes. It requires a physical connection to use CarPlay. It's not wireless. So what I was doing was plugging in my smartphone to use CarPlay and the GPS on the big screen. That's using a navigation system. It's not using your smartphone. Don't give me the ticket. The judge ultimately found that Tessier did not violate the highway code, as the Suburban recounts this week. And it was the judge, Dennis Gallant. He was the judge in this case. So that was the way to get off it. Convince the judge, I'm not using my smartphone. I'm using the GPS function because I'm plugging into CarPlay, and that's how that person got off the ticket. I don't know if I'd buy it if I was the judge, but in this case, it certainly did work. Let's go to Harry in Park X. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Elias. How are you?
I'm good. Tell me about your ticket.
Well, I was on Côte St. Catherine. I dropped off my wife at the Jewish, and I ran in. And I come back and I see the guy giving me the ticket. So I run to the meter.
Yeah, you're on. This is Côte St. Catherine. Okay, and what kind of car are you driving, Harry? It's very important.
Nissan Rogue.
Oh, you're on a Nissan Rogue. Okay, so you left your vehicle. You hop in the hospital for a quick bit.
Yeah, but it was a parking spot on the street, right?
Yeah.
So, but with it, he gave me a ticket, parking ticket, and. But the ticket, I paid the meter, is like 3 minutes different. There's difference between the tickets. So I don't know if I'm going to contest it or not.
So did you only pay the meter because you saw the guy giving you a ticket?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're telling...
Somebody had told me if there's because you're crossing the street or maybe a one of the machines is not working. And
well, listen, if you do have a grace period, right? There is a grace period. You park your car and then you have to walk to the meter.
The grace period, you know?
Oh, so Harry, listen, how much is the ticket? $100?
Yeah.
So here's what I would do for science, actually, Harry, not because it's worthwhile. It's probably not a worthwhile way to spend your time, but for science, I would take this case to court and say, Your Honor, I parked my car. And now listen, here's the thing, right? I will never tell anyone to lie in court, right? If you tell the judge, oh yeah, I saw the guy giving me a ticket, I paid my meter, you're donezo, Harry, sorry.
No, I'm not going to say that. But somebody told me you just send it online with a picture of the ticket and a picture of your coupon of the parking spot. And if the time lapses make sense, you don't even have to go to court.
You absolutely, Harry, need to try this out and submit it and say, listen, I paid my ticket. It was 3 minutes later. And to me, the reasonable doubt is that you get out of your car and it can take 2-3 minutes sometimes to walk to the meter, which you have to, if you pay physically, if you're not paying using the app. Did you pay with the app or in the machine?
No, physically. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Harry, that works in your favor here, right? Because if you paid at the actual meter, you got to walk there. 2-3 minutes. It's very reasonable.
Yeah, exactly.
Harry, you're going to call back and tell me how it went, okay?
All right, Elias.
All right, Harry, getting a ticket there. Be careful there. And like I said, Harry saw the ticket happening. Maybe he's got plausible deniability, and that can get you a long way. Peter sends me this note about the peeling license plate, okay? He had to pay to get another plate. It was $20. He told them it was ridiculous, but they weren't interested in hearing the story. The SAAQ cannot even make a proper license plate, and Peter adds that he never sees plates from Ontario peeling. I will point this out. Ontario did release a new series of license plates that apparently it was so difficult to read the letters, and they were made properly, but they just were not properly designed in the first place. And Ontario made a series of license plates that they had to take back because there were too many complaints from police officers, by the way, that they simply could not read the numbers because it was like a dark blue on a darker blue, or like a light blue on a somewhat darker blue, and it was very hard to read. All right, that concludes Traffic Court for this week. Thanks so much for calling in with your cases. Here's what we're going to do during hour 3. 11:20, we're going to be joined by Pierre Poilievre. He's leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. The parliamentary session just ended. We'll get his take on where his party and his leadership is at right now. And then when we return after the news, saving the downtown Hudson's Bay sign. How it was saved? We'll tell you that story next.
Close your eyes, and you can hear the entire world come alive. 2026 FIFA World Cup is on, and you can stream it all live on TSN Radio. From the opening kickoff to the final celebration, every match, every moment. Listen to FIFA World Cup on TSN Radio.
Gives Canada the lift off.
Available on iHeartRadio.